All right, guys, welcome to another edition of the Go Big or Go Home podcast. I am Big Rich Richardson, and we have gone over in the last couple episodes the perfect wide receiver, the perfect running back, and how you build those guys. Obviously, we know that that guy isn't out there, but if you were putting this person together, if you were Dr. Frankenstein and putting this thing together, this is what you want to do. Now we talk about the most important position on the field, arguably to many people the most important position in the world of sports, the quarterback. Now, you've got 10 categories you got to look at with a quarterback because obviously there are more tools that you need in that perfect quarterback. And some of these guys I don't even really like. Some of these positions I'm not even going to like, but it's a matter of stating facts. And as always, I make sure I do not duplicate any player. So, yeah, there may be some guys that could go in a couple different positions, but that's not what we did here. We are going one guy, one position. So follow along. And again, go big or go home 945@gmail.com. Let me know what you think. Tell me I'm crazy. Tell me, you love the idea, or tell me who you would put in somebody's place. I want to know what you guys got to think. Because remember, I want your opinions. Don't try being candy coated and don't tell me what I want to hear. Tell me what you think. So we start things off with the release. You got to get rid of that ball quick, especially in this day and age. You got those fast defensive linemen and linebackers coming at you. You got to get rid of that ball quick. 3 steps, boom, done. Quickest release in the history of football, no questions asked. Miami Dolphins quarterback Dan Marino. And he wasn't the shortest guy in the world, and he had enough arm length that he could have had one of those nice big crank it back and fire away arms. He got rid of the ball faster than anybody in the history of football before or since. And it was very good with the system that he had. When you had Mark Duper, Mark Clayton, receivers like that he's throwing to, and they're running those short patterns to try to develop plays after the catch, that's where Dan Marino was really dangerous. And with the release of the ball, his release in this time frame, I think, would work extremely well. I just don't know that he would work extremely well in 2020 football because he's nail your feet in the pocket because he wasn't running. He's Troy Aikman when it comes to that. He ain't running. People don't think Tom Brady runs. I got news for you. Dan Marino, Tom Brady is Lamar Jackson compared to Dan Marino. So the release, yeah. Other categories on this list, you definitely would not want Marino on that list. Now let's move to the smarts, the head. What does the guy do? And, of course, what do you do? What do you think of first is thinking on your feet. You get up to the line of scrimmage, you need to be able to make that change. Honorable mention on this list, by the way, goes to Tony Romo. I mean, you've seen what he can do in the press box. He did that sort of stuff on the field at the same time for the Cowboys. So, honorable mention goes to Tony Romo. But Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning, both of the Indianapolis Colts, those guys could make changes at the line of scrimmage and even make changes inside the changes at the line of scrimmage. Because not only would they change the play, they would change the blocking assignments at the same time. A lot of times you would see both of those guys grab, say there's a receiver in motion. They grab the guy and turn him the other direction. Those kinds of things. They make those changes on the fly. And with as many changes as defenses make nowadays, especially, if I'm putting that perfect quarterback out there, I need for him to be able to see what's going on and what's going wrong and make a change right now. In essence, be the coach on the field. I can't think of anybody better than either Peyton Manning or Andrew Luck. I want a guy, it's 2 minutes left in the game. I just got the ball back. I'm down 5. I got to score a touchdown. And I need a guy that's going to get me down the field. As much as I cannot stand Tom Brady, and you guys have heard me all talk about how much I don't like Tom Brady, there's 2 guys I got to put on this list, and it's Joe Montana and Tom Brady, because they do get the job done. Nobody wanted to give the ball back to either one of those guys with any time left on the clock. Honorable mention probably to Aaron Rodgers, because, again, you don't want to give him the ball with any time on the clock either. But when you go and look at, okay, I need a guy to get me that touchdown with 1.5 minutes on the clock and 2 timeouts, I gotta take those 2 guys as many times as they've done it. I mean, yeah, every quarterback has led teams to victory. Every quarterback worth their salt, anyway, has led their team to a victory from behind. That's not the discussion. I want it every time. I want that threat every single time you step on the field when you're down and you have a chance to win. So give me Brady and Montana for their clutchness. Vision. Now, the vision on the field is twofold. You have to be able to see what's going on in front of you. But then there's the ever popular teacher's end of it with the eyes in the back of your head. You feel the pressure coming. You feel that tackler coming. You see a move or you feel a move in your mind's eye. You're scrambling right and you see something to your left. And yes, he catches all kinds of hell for it. There's no question about it. But Patrick Mahomes has got the best vision in football. I would love to have a guy like a Joe Montana with Patrick Mahomes' vision. Or, just his ability to do what he does. He does a really nice job of turning something into nothing or getting away from trouble to turn a really bad situation. Maybe it turns into a 0 situation. Could have been a 12-yard loss. They got back to the line of scrimmage. Okay. No coach is getting mad at that. No GM is getting mad at that. No teammates getting mad at that. Could have been a 15-yard loss, and it'd be 3rd and tomorrow. But now they got back to the line of scrimmage, and it's 3rd down and 5. So you got to take that into consideration, especially when you talk about a kid like Patrick Mahomes, who probably has one of the brightest futures of anybody in the NFL right this second. Then you move to the ability to evade. The rush is coming, the blitz is coming, and you got to be able to get away. Even if they've got their arms around you, you still got to be able to get away and make the play happen. You got to be strong enough to do it, but you also got to be able to not let the play break down while you're doing it. And one of the best that I've ever seen doing that is from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger. Yes, a lot of it is his size. It is definitely a case where he's a big guy and he can get away from that stuff, but he also has the ability and the flexibility to maneuver around, the quickness to get away, and it's just a good collective package that he's able to evade tacklers, evade a sack, and be able to make a play. I lost count how many times he's done that throughout his career. So it's certainly a position of need with a lot of guys and with a lot of teams, and you got to have it done the right way. So give me the ability to evade of Ben Roethlisberger. Going along with that is strength. And I mean the ability to just be a strong guy. We've talked about the stiff arm ability and the ability to stay on your feet even after you've been hit and things of that nature. And I tell you true. Cam Newton, when he's healthy, there's the key to it, folks. Cam Newton, when he's healthy, is one of the best in the league at doing that. And I don't think there's any argument or any question about it. The big question is the guy healthy? And that's something that this season we're going to find out if he's able to find a team. If he makes it to, maybe he becomes a Patriot, maybe he becomes a Denver Bronco. I don't know. But his ability to make a play happen because of his strength, to shuck away from a guy or stiff arm a guy away or things of that nature, that's certainly something that you have to be able to appreciate in a guy like Cam Newton, because when you put it all together, and you're looking at a guy that's 6'6", 250 pounds and can run like the wind when he's healthy, that's definitely something that you really have to understand. That strength creates the ability to not get tackled a lot. When you've got a guy that's a thinner, more slender Matt Ryan type, or even and I realize he hasn't entered the league yet, but a Trevor Lawrence type who's a little more slight. Now, yeah, okay, I get Trevor Lawrence is 6'6" and all that kind of deal. but he's more slight. He doesn't have that extra build and extra strength in him to get a guy away from him or to, push away from a tackle. That's what I'm talking about with Cam. Then, of course, you move to your legs. You've got to have the legs not only to get underneath you to make a solid throw, because the foundation is where the throw comes from, remember, folks. And you got to be able to have that foundation in order to get a good, strong, accurate throw. But you also have to have those legs to go, to run, to get away, to scramble. And no one in the league, to me anyway, is better than Lamar Jackson at doing that. Lamar Jackson's legs are just ridiculous. He's able to do things that many people thought a guy like Robert Griffin would be able to do, that he was able to do until he got hurt. And Lamar Jackson, to me, is just that running quarterback. That he is that running quarterback. And when you're that running quarterback, you rely on your legs considerably, but you also rely on that solid base. Whether you're under center, whether you're in the shotgun, whether you're getting ready to unleash a throw 60 yards downfield, or you're throwing the fastball on a quick slant. You've got to be able to have that solid base under you, and the strength in your legs is no doubt, no questions asked, huge when you're able to do that. So Lamar Jackson being able to have that type of leg strength and the ability to use it properly is huge in his game and in the ability to create this perfect quarterback. Then I want a guy that's competitive. I want a guy that will not accept a loss, period, the end. I do understand that there are a ton of quarterbacks that feel that exact same way. And any quarterback that accepts a loss, and I do mean okay, it's no big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal to all of them. But there's one guy that, you watch him on the field, and when his team is not playing right, and when they're losing because they're giving a game away, he is hot. He is pissed, and he's not afraid to let everybody know about it. And that's Aaron Rodgers of the Green Bay Packers. You see him get all up in receivers' grills, in linemen's faces. I've even seen him get on the defensive players because they're not doing what they need to do to get the Packers a win. Aaron Rodgers, to me, is probably one of the most competitive quarterbacks I've seen in a very, very long time. And it would be fun to see the talent and the competitiveness work together in other guys. Because you see a guy like Phillip Rivers, who is extremely competitive, but the talent and the talent around him isn't there. And that's what I mean by that. You sit back and you look at Aaron Rodgers, and he's had a lot of success over his career, and rightly so. He's done a lot of things that are spectacular. He's won Super Bowls. He's done things that a lot of guys haven't been able to do. But it's that competitiveness in him, that refusal to give up, to quit, and to accept defeat and accept it's not even a bad game. It's a bad series, It is a case where he just wants to be perfect every single drive. And I like that about him. And of course, this is where the non-duplication comes in on this, because the competitiveness of a guy like a Peyton Manning or a Tom Brady would also fit into this as well, because they have that killer instinct that a lot of guys I don't think have. Another one that is extremely competitive but is also the most accurate quarterback in the history of football, the numbers show it, is Drew Brees. You got to have the accuracy of Drew Brees, and that's the best way to consider it. When you look at the way that he is just short pass, long pass, intermediate routes, he puts that ball right there. Michael Thomas caught almost 150 balls in 2019. And if you look at those catches, I would almost guarantee you over 90% of them were right there. that he didn't have to do a lot of reaching behind him, jumping over his head, diving for a pass, that kind of stuff. That sort of thing isn't needed, and it's not good either, because that's where you end up getting your receivers blasted by defensive backs. The accuracy of the quarterback just is so important to go along with the ability of the receiver to hang on to the ball, which is where, when Deshaun Watson has some accuracy issues, having DeAndre Hopkins is huge, but it would be a whole lot easier if DeAndre didn't have to worry about where the ball was going to be. So it is a important part of the ideal quarterback to have that accuracy and to be able to complete those passes, but it is a dual thing as well. You can throw the best pass in the world. If the receiver doesn't catch it, then you got issues, which is what makes Brees and Thomas so dangerous. And that's what makes a lot of these extremely accurate quarterbacks very, very, very dangerous. Then we come down to the arm. You can have a guy that can crank up the fastball and throw that ball really hard, really accurate, and not get the job done. Then you've got guys that can throw the deep ball and they have no touch. And that's a lot of guys in the NFL, to be honest. They throw the deep ball and they have no touch. What ends up happening there is very plain, very simple. You have guys that either get overthrown or the quarterback overcompensates, throws it short, and then it gets picked. So it's not going to be a very good situation if your guy doesn't have the arm to do things. And that's why I want the arm of former Philadelphia Eagles quarterback, Randall Cunningham. Cunningham could throw the ball as far as you wanted him to throw it. And I mean that legitimately. I saw him throw a ball one time 80 yards in a game, and that's just the way he throws. He could just get those legs underneath him, let it rip, and his arm was ridiculous. But he could also thread the needle on a quick slant if he needed to, or throw that intermediate route with just enough pop behind it that it got past the DBs, but it was catchable by the receivers. And Randall Cunningham, probably one of the more underrated players in the history of football anyway. But his arm, when I'm putting my ideal quarterback together, his arm is going to be the big thing that I want. So when you're looking at your ideal quarterback, here's what I want to see. And again, go big or go home, 945@gmail.com. Let me know what you agree with, what you don't agree with, who you would put in some of these spots, and where your ideal quarterback would be. But I want the release of Dan Marino, the head, the mind, the knowledge of Peyton Manning or Andrew Luck, the clutch ability of Tom Brady or Joe Montana, the vision of Patrick Mahomes, the ability to evade of Ben Roethlisberger, the strength of Cam Newton, the legs of Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers' competitiveness, Drew Brees' accuracy, and the arm of Randall Cunningham. Again, go big or go home, 945@gmail.com is the way to reach me. If you got any questions, I'll be more than happy to talk to you about it. We could even get involved with another episode with some of those questions. And I want to know what you think about all these lists and all the episodes. Please give us your input. We definitely want to know what you think. Go big or go home, 945@gmail.com. And until next time, when we will get into the 2020 NFL Draft, my name is Big Rich Richardson. So long, everybody.